The remains of late Mrs. Helen Uzamaka Ngene have been laid to rest at Agwore Achara Amodu, Okunano in Nkano West local government area of Enugu State on Thursday the 9th of January 2025. Born in 1950 to the dynasty of the great Enugu family, Umuonovo Oha Umuowu Enugu Amodu. The late Helen Ngene, before her demise, was a devout Christian and a member of Pentecost Methodist Church Agwore Amodu. Back in 1963, late Mrs. Helen completed her basic education at the Methodist Primary School Amodu, where she obtained her first school leaving certificate. In her quest for higher education, she proceeded to Teachers Training College at Ihe and successfully acquired a Grade 2 certificate, with which she got an auxiliary teaching job with Community Primary School Amodu in 1976. Until her retirement in 2008, late Mrs. Uzamaka had, through her teaching job, served both the government and humanity and had impacted positively on countless number of kids in her capacity as a school teacher. The interment of late Mrs. Helen began at her husband's compound, Agwore Achara Amodu, with a requiem service by Pentecost Methodist Church, officiated by Reverend Dr. C. Ekebisi, the Bishop of Agwore Diocese. Late Mrs. Helen, who passed on at the age of 74, left a devastating effect on her loved ones. According to her first son, Honorable Chief Chijioke Ngene, late Helen lived a peaceful and generous life. He went on to pray for his mother's peaceful rest, while also expressing gratitude to the guests who came from diverse locations to sympathize with him, wishing them a safe return back home.
I cherish everybody. Thank you for them to come and help me to give my mother a peaceful burial. My prayers is that God will reward them. That everybody that comes there is going to do get home safely, and God is going to give me the energy and power to give them back the energy they gave to them.
Similarly, Mrs. Patricia Nwato, a stepdaughter to late Mrs. Helen and the first child of the family, recounted the positive impact of the deceased. She prayed for her to have a peaceful repose, urging the rest of the family members to maintain her peaceful legacy.
You're welcome, sir.
In the same vein, Mr. Emeka Anubu, a younger brother to the late Mrs. Helen, expressed sadness over the loss of his sister, who, according to him, took the place of their mother. Mr. Emeka then prayed to God to grant his sister eternal rest in heaven.
maka ihe ọ na-eme karịrị enweghị ụzọ osie ya aka ụzọ abụna ụzọ ifeatụ nwanne m nwaanyị bụ nne nke m kapta nne anyị wụ ya wa bụzi awamọda na-emere anyị ihe niile iwe problem gbakwute ọ ga-achọrịrị ụzọ ọ ga-eji sọbụrụ gị anyị geti nri and iwe niile dị ebe a ma onye ọ bụrụ onye okwu n'ụka ọ bụrụ onye na-achọ ebe ọ ga-eti ọnụ ihe ga-eso okwu ọ nọrọ everything ga-eso okwu ọ bụrụ maka ya wa so oyi udo ebe ọ bụla ọ nọ mana my family our family udo na be dị ebe akwa a na-etesify kwa ka udo so n'ihe m na-ayọ Chineke bụ ka o nyere m ya eternal rest ka o si ike na ndokwa n'aha Jizọs.
Mr. Nnemeka Frank Ngene, a stepson to the deceased, also shared his thoughts on the life and time of late Mrs. Helen, praying for her soul to rest in the Lord's bosom.
Can you make it back in this our stepmother? Bless the one. I want to be we should. Yes. Oh, yeah, man, I didn't. They be when you enjoy your papa blaze. God, oh, I didn't. On one. You come where and I cook. Now, in the madness, good of her. Says we. I have. And oh, yeah, the Lavin cave now. I can on back or gaffy. And or gaffy. Zelling Ngene 3 days. I will not catch this way. I am on Jetchiko. Obono, I get yoga, say, I pull on called the Pola and Nazi one. Was all up. Obapo one. I better me say I'm catching it now. Yes. Above no. Come on, still I am it, but I not go there. I am Mum, the head man. No more, I can never quite better. You flick a mice, mess, go to an end. Obviously, one. No, never. They couldn't even put a good of her. Augustino is one. Some guy like Paco, my man, doing and say, I can't tell you for queer. Cause me, you're so good to have it.
Mrs. Roslyn Ngene, a co-wife to the late Mrs. Helen, reflected on the positive impact of the disease as she prayed for her to have a peaceful rest in heaven.
Oh, well, it did one don't your 5,000, don't your 2,000. Oh, yem. And I'm or call me or somebody I would go call. Oh, well, it did Manasim Chineke. Ask him Chineke. Oh, you made a call that I go there. And you're buying cashew. No, no, put a with I. No, we with I live in my yard. And my Chineko, you made a call that I there. And I don't be an under when I Jesus.
Eulogies continue to pour in from friends, families, and associates as they reflected on the life and time of the great woman of virtue. The event witnessed massive attendance of high-profile personalities in Enugu and beyond, dignitaries and top government officials, in solidarity with the chief mourner, Honorable Chief Chijioke Ngene, as he bids farewell to his beloved mother. Late Mrs. Helen Uzamaka Ngene passed on to eternal glory on the 10th of November 2024 and is survived by her co-wife, children, in-laws, and relatives.
When you think of online TV and radio, broadcasting, media consultancy, event coverage, event management and planning, there's no better name than Ogama TV. But that's not all. We're also into photo studio and coverage, equipment rental, news blogging, fashion and pageantry. We are at number 5/21 Chime Avenue, beside Open Sheraton Restaurant, New Haven, Enugu. Follow us on our social media handles: Facebook at Ogama TV, Instagram at Ogama TV1, Twitter at Ogama TV, website www.ogamatv.com. You can also send us email at ogamatv@gmail.com. Ogama TV, your one-stop media solution.